continuing on our theme about division breakdown and stuff like that, we're on to the AFC West right here. And as we always do, man, we'll give a quick what we like about a team, what we're skeptical about the team, and then from there, put them in our order and go from there.
Who we starting with?
Oh, man. Let's go with Denver. Why not? Why not Denver?
Oh, man.
Who doesn't love talking about Denver first?
Obviously, the quarterback situation. They're going to limit them. That's been their problem. Like, their roster's not bad.
No, they
especially
got to upgrade a quarterback. What you talking about, man?
Especially now with Cortland Sutton, Hamler.
Yeah.
Their receivers are pretty good. Jerry Jeudy, too. Fant.
I like the defense.
Running backs, they just picked Williams. They have Melvin Gordon. Yeah, the defense is solid.
Defense is nice. I like defense a lot.
So what I like about them, they just have a solid team. Like, they were trying to get Aaron Rodgers potentially. If they would have had Aaron Rodgers, they're a playoff team. They're
legit,
competing with the Chiefs. I don't really like their coach, and I don't really like the quarterback situation. So what I like is just their team as a whole, what they've built over these past couple years.
Yeah.
But quarterback situation is going to limit them. Teddy Bridgewater, and then I'm not the biggest fan of the coach.
Yeah. For me, man, I am really impressed with the talent that they do have, especially like skill position. You talk about their wide receivers, their secondary. They have some guys, young talent
secondary
too. Like,
too, man.
They got young talent.
That's why they're looking to get rid of Callahan. They got like 3 stud cornerbacks.
Dude, they got
second.
Like, it's crazy. Like, just the amount. Like, they definitely replenished the no-fly zone, right? Remember when they had those guys with TJ Ward, Aqib Talib, Chris Harris was out there as well. Now that all of them are gone, they've done a nice job with this new wave of guys. But I think their talent on the perimeter, though, secondary, wide receiver, is top notch. In terms of their pressure, I do think Bradley Chubb.
Their D line's not bad. Nasty. You got Chubb and Von Miller too.
I want to see where Von is right now because Von's coming off of the injury. Like, when you come off of a year away, obviously he was getting older anyways. We knew he played well when Bradley was out there and is healthy. When Bradley was out, though, that's when Von really started to show he was slowing down a little bit. So I just want to see where he's at when he comes back. But as a whole, like, the positive is that the talent, like I just named. The negative has to be the quarterback right now. Even if Teddy Bridgewater is the starter and he will play well for them, but we said he's just limited. We know what he brings to the table. He's not one of those quarterbacks where he will ever elevate you to get those type of must-win games versus, an elite quarterback or an elite defense. That's not what he's going to do. He's not going to lose you any games either, though. But that's just who he is. So it's going to be that team having to be perfect around him for them to ever really be in consideration. I just don't see that happening.
Especially in that division with Mahomes, Herbert, and as much as I don't believe in Carr, Raiders got a nice roster too.
Yeah, seriously, man. So that's the thought process with them, man. But speaking of the Raiders, man, we'll go to them next.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say one more thing about the Broncos. Their fans, they're so pissed they didn't get a quarterback in this draft. Like, that would have been a perfect opportunity for them.
Okay.
They just didn't get it. They ended up taking Surtain, but dude, with like Fields, like it was all in that range with like Fields, Mac Jones. Maybe they could have even traded up, but like they didn't get them, and this is what they're dealing with right now. As much as Surtain's gonna be pretty sick for them for defense. Look how much we're talking about how good the roster is, and we're just like, at the end of the day, you don't have a quarterback.
They're just limited there. Like, I think their situation is better than a lot of other quarterback situations, but when you're limited at quarterback, it's just hard to talk about you as competing to win your division or to even make a legitimate playoff run. Like, you have to have a guy that can be on par, that can throw in and really win you some games like that. And I just don't think with Teddy, even though Teddy's a good quarterback, he's not that caliber quarterback.
Raiders, it's very similar to the Broncos. I like their team. Their defense is pretty much loaded with talent. Offense.
Now, they got young talent, though, defensively man.
Yeah, it is young.
A lot of young talent.
It is young. So they do need to prove a little bit more, but I like some of those guys. I mean, Max Crosby's been stepping up. You obviously got Jonathan Abram. They drafted that dude from TCU at safety, Morig.
Yep, Javon Morig.
Their team is nice. I think both offensively
Max Crosby
and
out there is a good player. They also brought in Quentin Jefferson, gives them a little bit more veteran presence on the D-line. And Yannick Ngakoue. He's out there now.
Farrell, he hasn't been really living up to the hype, but that's, like we're saying, just more talent. They have a bunch of dudes. And then when you go to offense, they lost some pieces on the offensive line, but I think they retooled enough. They're going to be fine.
They brought in Alex Leatherwood as well. Drafted him out of Alabama. We know we were high on him.
Yeah, they'll be 100% fine. Receivers aren't amazing, but Ruggs is good. People are really high on Edwards taking a second-year jump.
Are you a Renfro guy?
Yeah, no, he's solid. He's solid.
Okay.
He's going to give you like 600-700 yards. He's like a safety valve.
Willie Snead, man, because he was always weird in Baltimore, bro.
No, he's they're like fourth or fifth receiver. Yeah. No, their top three are pretty solid. Josh Jacobs, they brought in Kenyon Drake. Like, it's the same thing with the Broncos for me, with the Raiders. Yeah. I like John Gruden a little bit more than the Broncos coach and Fangio. I just don't believe in Derek Carr. So, like, their roster's loaded. Not a fan of Derek Carr, so that's the negative right there. And I guess I could throw John Gruden in maybe as a negative just because what's he done since, 02? maybe another
10 mil per year.
Maybe another, right. I think he had a playoff appearance or two since then with the Bucs, but ever since, I just don't really have too much faith in him. If you asked me a couple years ago, just with him stepping down from the Monday night broadcast, I'd be a little more hyped on him, but now he just hasn't got it done with the Raiders. I think they've had a lot of talent. Yeah. They played the Chiefs really close last year, but negatives, it's the same thing as the Broncos, actually. Same exact thing I'm going to say. Quarterback, no. Coach, roster, really nice.
Yeah. See, for me, I like the roster as a whole, especially the guys we talked about. I like their young talent, but at the same time, I'm going to applaud the young talent. Guys like Josh Jacobs, guys like like we were just talking about on the defense. Oh my goodness, Jonathan Abram. He's another guy, right? I like those two younger players, but when we talk about Farrell, when you think about their pass rush, new pieces, sure, I still am skeptical about them being able to generate the rush that they're thinking they can, because with Yannick, watching him in Baltimore, I don't necessarily
might have lost it.
His game is just different. Like it's
supposed to be a huge trade for them,
right? And it never really played out like that. Like he never really lived up to those expectations. Never really had that type of impact. If that's not the case again in Vegas, then they really aren't going to have a ton of pressure being created up front. I'm more worried about that than I am about Carr. I think when I think of Carr, I think of Teddy Bridgewater. Like I kind of just know what I'm getting with them, and I don't expect more than that. And I think that's why I don't mind him or Kirk Cousins or Teddy, because it's like, all right, I know what you are. You're good enough for this. I just got to make sure my talent around you is here. I don't think they got enough for the pass rush to create the situations that they would like to be in going forward. So that's like my bigger knock on them. But as a whole, I do like their roster.
8-8, or not 8-8. It's going to be 8-9 or 9-8.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to be.
Yep. All right. Next up, we got LA Chargers.
As much as I want to say they're way too hyped up this year.
Yeah.
Actually, that may be the reason that I might knock them down a little bit. No, they're pretty good, though, dude. I mean, their defense is nice. Completely retooled the offensive line, which needed to happen for Justin Herbert.
Yes.
So that's going to be a huge improvement. Weapons are good on offense. I mean, so if we're just going to say the positive, it's obviously Justin Herbert and then getting Derwin James back on defense. Negative, probably just inexperience. I don't know is this team ready to take the next step this year? That's going to be the question. Is there going to be a waiting year here where they go 500? You can't go 500 this year, but you know what I mean. Whether 7-10, 8-9, 9-8,
they're Herbert like still run of the mill.
Herbert still puts up really good numbers, but do they know how to win like that?
Yeah,
that's my negative. My positives, obviously, you have Justin Herbert, your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, for me, man, the return of Derwin James. That's the one I'm hype about, man. He is an X factor. I think that he can be the legitimate difference between them being another, like you said, 7-8 win team versus them being a 10-win team. Like, he has that type of impact. He is to them what Minkah Fitzpatrick was to us when he got here. Our defense was good before Minkah got here, but when Minkah came here, it changed. It took us to a whole nother level. And you saw when Durham was healthy out there with the Chargers, the impact that was. It was felt. Everything looks like he will be healthy going into the opener. If he stays healthy this season, with Justin Herbert already on that offense side, they're going to be able to put up points. But Derwin is going to give them an X factor on defense to go with that pass rush that they have. So for me, like he's a huge, huge plus for me right there. And then for the negative, man, it's just inexperience, dude. Like, are they going to be able to handle that? Because in that division, you can't just drop. I look at the AFC West kind of like the AFC North. Like, you don't have a lot of gimme games in there or teams where you're just like, oh, the Browns are the Browns or the Bengals are like, they're not them anymore. We know we're going to have to play well to beat them. And when we're talking about the Broncos and the Raiders, as much as we're like down on them, they still are going to be tough teams to get out of there.
Broncos. I remember, I think it was Sunday night. They played Kansas City tough, and they had nothing. They had nothing on offense.
Seriously. So, like, with the Chargers, that's my thing with them. They're young.
Raiders play
Can they handle that? Like, because you're going to literally have to be week in and week out with that. But if they can, I like them. I think they'll do some special things out there, man.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah. Just the inexperience. Are you guys ready? We'll see, because Herbert, obviously amazing rookie of the year, or rookie year last year. He won rookie of the year. But I mean, there were some games, like I think it was the Patriots game. Like he got smoked. Like, he was bad. So I wonder if it's going to be one of those cases where his tape's out there, teams start finding him out a little bit. I'm not thinking that's the case. I do think he's legit. Yeah. But it's one of those questions that I have with the Chargers right now. I'd like to see it before I crown them.
Yeah, I can respect that. Then the last team we got to talk about, Kansas City Chiefs. Positive for them, negative for them.
Oh, man. Well, positive is obviously the offense. Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Kelsey. I don't know much more needs to be said outside of them also improving their offensive line, which was terrible for them in the Super Bowl. They were able to get away with it most of last season.
Well, remember, the O-line didn't get terrible until the postseason when guys started getting hurt. Their O-line was actually
they had to
good.
They had to bring in our boy.
Right. Their O-line was good, but when Fisher went down, then you had Shorts went down. And I want to say the center went down as well.
I know they had to bring in Wisniewski.
Yeah, they had like multiple of their starters go down throughout that end of the season and playoff run. And that was why when they got to the Super Bowl, we were sitting here like, yo, they're starting 2 tackles and this is going to get bad. Really, really bad.
No, but they retooled the line. So the offense, obviously awesome. Andy Reid, really good coach, top 3 coach in the NFL. Defense is questionable though, kind of. It's a little shaky. You have Tyrann Mathieu. He's really good, but outside of him, you got a bunch of like borderline dudes in the secondary, linebacker, so. You have Chris Jones and Frank Clark, obviously good, but
and they got Willie Gay. They got Willie Gay, baby. Come on now.
They signed him.
Yeah, not like the linebacker Willie Gay.
I was gonna say
not Deucey.
I was gonna say I swear he's out of the league.
Nah, he's coaching now, man.
That's my thoughts. I mean, they're going to be really good, but their defense is a little questionable. I don't think you're going to really see a performance like what happened in the Super Bowl with Mahomes in the offense where he's getting blitzed all around because if that offensive line stays healthy, it should be pretty good. Yeah. Defense is the only question, in my opinion, just as a whole. I mean, the rush is fine with Clark and Jones. Like I was saying, the defensive line is pretty good, but outside of Matthew, you just have a bunch of just dudes out there then. Snead's all right, but...
Yeah, for me, when I think of the Chiefs... the big positive for them, not even going the Mahomes route, the O-line. They definitely revamped left tackle with Orlando Brown. I thought that was big. Them getting Joe Thuney, I like that as well. And then even at center, that's where they have Creed Humphrey as well. Remember, we liked Creed. We thought Creed, that was a guy. Now, granted, he has some injury questions, but we thought that he could definitely...
I think we were thinking about him for second round.
Yeah, we were.
That Quinn Miners was still available too.
He was definitely one of the guys we were thinking about. So them picking him up,
Brymouth.
They did. I'm glad we did too. My only issue with them, right tackle, they got a young guy, Lucas. I think he says like Niang, 3rd round draft pick, but he was from a year ago and he set out because of COVID. So fresh rookie starting at right tackle. That to me is a little bit concerning, right? But as a whole, I definitely think their O-line, the revamped version of it, that to me is their biggest boost right now, man.
Yeah. What's your negative?
Defensively, I'm cool on it. I honestly think defensively, they have the way they play defensively, they're never going to be asked to have to be great. 90% of the games they're going to be playing and they're going to have leads in. And their defense is built to rush the passer and cover. That's what they're going to be designed to do. So until they get into like a tough game where those guys have to make plays and create turnovers, I don't think we're ever going to have to worry about them being exposed. But for me, I'm just going back to that right tackle right now, just because he's young. He hasn't played yet. You set out last year because the COVID opt-out option, and I understand that, but that's different. Like how we're talking about Dan Moore. If Dan Moore is open today starter, which it looks like he will be, we still have concerns with that just because it's different in the preseason. This is when all the lights are on and you protect Mahomes. Yeah. Same way Dan will be protecting Ben. Like there's certain pressure that goes with the quarterback that you protected. If this was Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock, yeah, you're all right. You can have a bad player too, but with those guys, it's just different. It's gonna be magnified. So though that's why for him.
Yeah, definitely. Because you did mention the defense. They'll be opportunistic. They'll be average, above average.
Swanson going to catch a pick here or there. Matthews going to get a pick. Like, that's what they're designed to be.
That's
Frank
what I'm
Clark
saying. If that's the negative, because whenever you look at the offense, it's like so high up there.
Insane, man.
The Chiefs as a whole, if we're going to point to a negative, and we're saying the defense, they're going to be above average at least.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to be, 13 wins, 14 wins, whatever the hell it is. And winning the AFC West. So there's my number one ranking right there.
So I was gonna say, what's your 1 through 4?
Yeah, Chiefs. I'm gonna do that. I'm probably gonna go chalk what a lot of people are saying. Chiefs, Chargers. Oh, Raiders, Broncos. Yeah, I'll go Raiders over Broncos.
Okay. So I put a poll up. Okay, it's been about 7 minutes, rough about 100 people that voted in this thing, but it's looking like Chiefs heavy at number 1, obviously. Chargers though at 12%. Then after that, Raiders and Broncos wrapping it up in the end.
That's what I'm going to say.
I could definitely see that. And then for me, man, I follow suit as well. Man, I got Chiefs at 1, Chargers coming in at 2, Raiders at 3, Broncos at 4.